friends, thank you so much for clicking on this video. Today I have for you another recipe in my ongoing series of recipes I would like my kids to remember. I'm going to be making meatloaf today. It is one of our family favorites, highly requested meal. So let's get right into this meal. The ingredients that I use to make my meatloaf are some spices, garlic powder, salt, pepper, Italian seasoning, and some parsley. And then we'll be using breadcrumbs. If I have enough of my homemade breadcrumbs, I'll use those, but if not, then I'll use some of the panko. 2 eggs and an onion. We're gonna very finely chop that. And then we have some ketchup and mustard and about 2 pounds of ground beef. And I forgot to pull this out initially, but I'll also be using 1/3 cup of milk. So this is about 2 1/4 pounds of ground beef. You can use anywhere from 2 to 2 1/2. To that, I'm going to be adding my finely chopped onion. I actually don't think I need the whole thing because that was a huge onion. And then I have about 1 1/4 teaspoon of salt and a few shakes of pepper. 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, the chopped up parsley is about 2 tablespoons, two eggs. If you want to, you can beat them beforehand. So this is about 3/4 cup of breadcrumbs. But if it's a little bit more or a little bit less, that's fine. If that's all you have. 1/3 cup of milk. I don't really ever measure this, but I would say about, this is ketchup, about 2 tablespoons of ketchup or so. And next, the mustard, it's still closed. I have to open it. Again, I don't exactly measure it, but this is not very much. About a teaspoon, I would estimate. And now I'm going to get my gloves on and mix that all together. Here we have a baking sheet. I have lined it with some aluminum foil and parchment paper. I am going to try to collect the juices from the meatloaf to make a gravy. So that is why those are on there. I want to add, I do not use a loaf pan because if I do, then everything will be sitting in the fat because the meat is 80% and I don't want everything sitting in the fat. So I generally just squeeze it together on this baking sheet. And I have used the loaf pans before in the past, and then I tried it without the loaf pans, and I just prefer it this way. Also, nobody panic, but I am not adding a red sauce on top. We prefer it plain, and anyone who wants to add anything to it, they can. So there is our beautiful loaf. I'm going to put it in an oven at 350 degrees for 1 hour. And at that point, I will check the temperature and I'll let you know if it finished. pan juices here to make a gravy for anyone who wants it. Alright, so I have the heat on, and we're going to cook the pan juices with some flour. I didn't measure the flour. I would say that was about 2 tablespoons. Okay, so I'm going to cook this for about a minute or two, and then I will add 2 cups of water to it, and then I'll see if it needs any more flavoring than what we got from our pan juices. If it does, I will be adding some beef bouillon to it, but we'll see. Still have the heat on, it's boiling, but this is perfect. It is good as it is. I wanted to mention that it was not thickening at all at first, so I did add a cornstarch slurry into it, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch with probably about 2 tablespoons of water, and now it's nice and thick. At this point, if you'd like, you can also add in a splash of heavy cream, and that'll make it a nice creamy gravy, and I will be doing that right now. I ended up leaving my meatloaf in for a total of 1.5 hours at 350 degrees. When in doubt, always check the temperature of your meat, and a meatloaf should register at 160 degrees Fahrenheit to be considered fully cooked. On this day, for our sides, we had some white rice, a medley of vegetables, and also some beet stems and leaves that were sauteed in a pan. Well, that's a wrap, everybody. Thank you so much for sticking with me till the end. I hope that you love this recipe as much as we do.